I know what my audience like. I did some independent films with Master P. A lot of those movies did really well.
I'm ambitious. I'm a hustler. I have my own lane.
That's the thing about comedy. You wake up every day, you don't know if you're funny that day.
What up? Welcome back to the program. We made it. Welcome to the world. Ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuned in. So let's go live with Lamont King. I'm Lamont King, and we are now live officially. Good to see you, man. Welcome back. We're here every Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. East Coast time. The world's greatest real live podcast, broadcast, stream. It's all of the above. Some of you watching, like, well, what is it? I tried to tell people what it was, but I didn't understand. It's like a live show. It's like a radio, but it's not on the radio. It's like a TV, but it's on my computer. It's a podcast, but you know what I mean? It's right now. So yeah, it's everything. Don't ask questions. Just keep it moving. I appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. That's what we do. Each and every day, a little bit of interesting people, trending topics, hilarious commentary, and celebrity interviews all rolled up into the nutshell. All right, let's get to the housekeeping. You made it through the weekend. It is almost the end of August, man. The end of August, which means it's almost the end of the year, which means your summer is over. You got like a week and a half left. No. You got like a week left for summer, and it's a wrap. It's over. I hope you did everything you tried to do, this summer. Went where you needed to go. I don't know what to tell you. They ain't coming back, man. It's a wash. All right, housekeeping. This is where we at. We can be found in the Humor Mill app on devices such as Roku and Fire Stick. Add the app. Add it to your systems and catch the show live on demand. Also, we are broadcasting live from the newly remodeled Drunken Fruit Studios inside of Tiny Closet Studios.
I don't care if it is a closet. You still looking mad official.
Thank you, sir. And of course, we are 100% viewer supported by people like you. So you can go ahead and slide us a loose $1 or a nickel or a dime. $ Lamont King 06. Viewer support. We greatly appreciate it. It covers some of the production costs, some of the ideas we got to deal with that we try and get off the ground. There's some guests I'd be like, yo, come on the show. And be like, yeah, how much y'all paying? And I'm like, well, we just took in $7 yesterday. You take a love offering. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. And then the Patreon. Let me see. Wait a minute. Hold on. Patreon.com. Get familiar. Become a patron. Patreon.com/Mr. Lamont King. There it is. And of course, stay plugged in, man. my social media. That's the handles. That's Mr. Lamont King on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. We almost did a 1K, man. YouTube.com/Lamont King. We almost there. We need 1,000 subscribers. Help me get to 1K. All right. A couple things to talk about. We got a guest lined up. Chew the fat. We're gonna think something. We're gonna talk something, learn something. Talk some shit, learn some shit today. That's where we at with it. How was your day though? How was your weekend? It was cool. You masked up? You got some? Oh, you got a new mask. You got some mask? You got some masks this weekend? Thumbs up in the chat if you got some mask this weekend. Did you get some mask? Did you get some mask? All right. Real quick, I see. Also another sponsor for this week. Very special. They got a lot of stuff going on over there. Hold on. Wait a minute. It's a bargain reseller on Instagram. Bargain Bay Buys. Instagram and I believe the website is of the same name. They're our newest sponsor for this week, so we appreciate them. Go check them out. Actually, these are one of their featured products for resale. All you sneakerheads and hype beasts. I don't really know. From what I understand, these are a highly sought after pair of shoes. Animal House, something or other. You go to the site, you'll see them. And you'll be able to get more details than I can give you. I just welcome all black business to the table. I welcome you to the table. If you got a black business, I welcome you to the table, as well as this shirt right here. I am the plug. If you're interested in this and some other designs, because coming up this weekend is the March for Freedom, the march to get off our necks, march by the National Action Network in D.C. And you got to get your uniform on. You got to get to all black everything. Black excellence, black girl magic, black boy joy. No, I don't like black boy joy. We're going to figure out another. Black man excellence, black king excellence. There we go. You got to get your gear. So hit me, DM me or whatever you need to do on Instagram, and I'll put you in contact and get you one of these fire shirts right here. All right, so there it is. Let's get to it. Make sure my guest is on deck. Shout out to Mr. Clarkson, our executive producer. Martin Davina Martin said, getting adjusted to virtual school for my son. How's that going, folks? That's tricky. Some people started school back, and I know day one issues. Day one has been hell. You know why it's probably issues? Because I know a lot of school districts, we survived the second half of the school year last year. We survived that spring semester, that fourth quarter. We survived it. Now going into the fall, it's deliberate. And I think everything is magnified because we were guessing back then. We were really trying to work our way through it. We didn't have time we just had to pivot. We didn't have time to negotiate and navigate. But now that it's delivered, I think there are actually going to be more problems now, especially because a lot of these school districts and administration still haven't flushed out, what exactly it should look like in order for it to be a success. They're only basing it on what happened in the fourth quarter of last year. But a lot of the students, these students are slick, man. They're not dumb. They may perform dumb academically, but they're not dumb when it comes to getting over. And I think the problems are going to come with these savvy students who are going to make it real challenging for these classrooms, these 30 people Zooms and attendance and assignments and test taking and proven proficiency. I think that's where it's going to come in. A lot of your youngsters are going to be playing games because they've seen all the memes, they've seen all the sketches, the TikToks and all that, and they are really going to be dicking around and dicking off. I really think that's where the problem is going to come. It's going to come from your kids dicking off. I really believe that. It's a scary notion, but I think that's what it's going to be. I think, teachers really trying to work their way through it and be like, all right, get my mind right, trying to figure, I got some ideas that I'm going to incorporate. Hopefully my principals and the administrators will back me administrators or principals, like, I just want this to go successfully. I don't want nobody testing positive, how far we can go, before we have a scandal or incident. But I think the kids is like, whatever. Like, hey, I ain't finna do all this virtual work. So don't load me up with no work. Don't make me read too much, because I ain't trying to do it. I'm gonna play like I forgot how to turn the computer on. I'm playing with the monitor, all types of games. I think the kids come with games. I think they come with games. They're gonna be the ones that throw the whole curveball. You know what I'm saying? Just think, how when in school you ain't want to go to school, you calling that bomb threat, that fake bomb threat, right? You do that because school has to react to it. They got to respond. Shut it down. How can you do that virtually? They're gonna figure out a way. Maybe like, something gonna have to happen where they hacking into other people's Zooms and shut it down, and then they're gonna be like, all right, we gotta shut this down until we run an audit and do some troubleshooting. But good luck, man. Good luck to y'all. Good luck. Oh, Mr. Clark said they already started. Everybody, camera don't work. My battery messed up. My Wi-Fi ain't right. Yeah. Day one. Good fucking luck. Day one. All right. So before we get into our guest, it's just a couple headlines that hey man, just hit me in the face today. Pause. And here's the funny thing. I'm gonna read through some of these. Of course, the RNC has started. There've been some type of virtual kickoffs, and also testimony from Louis DeJoy, U.S. Postal Service Postmaster General. I hate that title. Between that and the Surgeon General. Now, here's my beef with the Surgeon General. Sidebar. I'm going to tangent right quick. My beef with the Surgeon General. So the dude, Jerome McAdams or whatever, we went to the same school. He was there about a year before I got there. He might have left a year before I got there. I only say that for context, but man, that man does not have it all. How someone like him, what qualifications do you need to be a Surgeon General? Because you ain't surgeon nor general. So what's with the title? The title is ass. And he's terrible at it. How you gonna be bad at a fake position? You ain't surgeon nor general. So when me and John Watson from All Fun and Games on Friday, we were talking about the Postmaster General. First, so here's another one. Postmaster General. Sounds dumb. Like, what qualifications did this guy Louis DeJoy meet? Of course, he was handpicked because he probably was going to be a surrogate for whoever's in the White House. But in a few clips of the hearings that I saw today, the testimony testifying today, man, they were crushing dude. They like, man, in the history of the post office, 247 years, we ain't never had a slowdown, a hiccup, nothing. And you came in 6 weeks and destroyed the entire system. I was like, wow, Postmaster General. And they talking about thank you for your service and all that. We was talking about that Friday. As if, they're military. You ain't no service personnel. You ain't no real general, champ. It's not thank you for your service. You ain't served no combat. You ain't seen no combat. Get out of here, Postmaster. You ain't Postmaster nor general. Ridiculous. All right. So those are some of the things that's going on right now, live at the time. But we're not going to talk about the bubble, sports, all that. They can handle that. There have been some 3 new police shootings. I believe 2 fatal. I believe Atlanta, Louisiana, and Kenosha, Wisconsin. I don't have all the details. I'm not here to traumatize you, but I'm not having that conversation today. We do need to talk about it. I'm not prepared to have that conversation today. I don't have all the details that I would need to structure my wording in such a fashion that I can convey my points with impact. Because right now it has just come out as anger. But because the playoffs are on in the bubble, we're not taking to the streets. Guarantee it. That's my bet. That's my word right there. It's not going to happen with like the George Floyd thing. And it was 3 over the weekend. 3. So do your Googles if you can stomach it. There's been another one, and another one. And we'll probably talk about it tomorrow or while I flush things out. This is a live show, so I don't want to take those chances and just start talking angry. Meanwhile, in white people going white, Jerry Falwell. This is not going to fall well. That's where that comes from. Jerry Falwell Jr. I don't know if y'all realize the news today is that he's resigning from whatever university that he's a part, Liberty University. Jerry Falwell Jr., very, very known, popular, super Christian conservative, evangelical, thought leader, personality, has been embroiled in controversy over the last few weeks. One came out when he posted an Instagram picture and immediately deleted it, or Twitter or whatever, at what appeared to be some party with him and a young lady, no mask on, and with their pants unzipped. And it was supposed to be some type of joke, but it looked inappropriate, and so he caught some pushback. But now today, he announced that he stepped down, and you'll love why. I hope I'm breaking this news to you, even if I'm not. It's a great story. It's an amazing story. And it's from Reuters. So what happened, the long and short of it, Reuters, the news agency or news service or whatever, they were doing a report on some type of dealing that Jerry Falwell and his wife Becky were having with a business associate. And so as the story broke, they let Jerry Falwell Jr. know and his attorney that we about to tell this story, man. Do you have anything to say? They said, no, we categorically deny anything that you could possibly put in the story. And so Reuters went ahead and published it. And they got details and factoids from people involved and screenshots, and text messages and all of that. And they published a story corroborating a lot of the info. And Jerry Falwell came out today and said, all right, I'm resigning. You got me. So what is the story, you ask? I'm so glad you asked that question. All right. Let me give you the headline. Business partner of Falwell Jr. says that affair with evangelical power couple spanned 7 years. That's the headline. It's a fragment, I know, but that's the headline. All right, so there's this guy. His name Giancarlo Grande. Says he had a sexual relationship with the Falwells that began when he was 20. He says he had sex with Becky Falwell while Jerry Falwell Jr., head of Liberty University and a staunch supporter of President Trump, looked on. All right, let's unpack this. So, first of all, let me say, in the issue of fairness and objectivity, I don't think that first paragraph was fair. I don't like it. I'm all for mudslinging and throwing dirt. But your first paragraph says that he had sex with that man's wife while that man, who's the head of Liberty University, that's irrelevant, and a staunch supporter of Trump, that's double irrelevant, looked on. So they're being messy. They ain't have to do that. Because when they do that to us, we don't like it. You know what I'm saying? When they be like, when they tie somebody to somebody we like, we be like, oh, that's unfair. You ain't have to do that. Like Jeremiah Wright, who's a staunch supporter of President Obama. You know what I mean? And that ain't right. They ain't have to do that. All right. Let me keep reading. I'm gonna get to the juicy. Let me just get to the meat. And I want somebody to type in the chat. There's a word for that, Mr. Falwell Jr. There's a word. They got a word that starts with a C, ends with a D, for that type of behavior. So basically, he said he was a pool boy when he was 20, working at the Fontainebleau in Miami back in 2012. He said, according to this article, starting that month and continuing into 2018, Granda told Reuters that the relationship involved him having sex with Becky while Jerry Falwell looked on, sitting in a corner. There's a word for that, ladies and gentlemen. If any smart person is brave enough to type that word in the chat, starts with a C, ends with a D. you'll win the prize today. Executive producer, you are not allowed to participate. He said his friendship eventually soured with the couple because they started a business. They had him running. They bought into a hostel, a youth hostel in Miami Beach, and since he lived there, they had him run it and be part owner, a youth hostel. Okay, and he recently fell into a business dispute with them and asked for them to buy him out. So now they're saying that this is all lies. He's basically trying to extort them because he asked for money. Okay. So they said they used to meet up multiple times a year. Yvonne said rhymes with uh-oh. Rodney, almost. You're close. They said they meet up several times a year in Miami, places like Miami, New York, and in their Virginia home. Quaint. And says that they even have proof. He corroborated the account with proof, a screenshot of a FaceTime conversation that he had where he's speaking with Becky Falwell. She's in the nude, and Jerry is in the back, peeking around the door. And there's a screenshot of this FaceTime conversation. There's a word for that. Put it in the chat for the prize. Starts with a C, ends with a D. Man, oh man, Jerry Falwell Jr. Holy moly! They even used the word. I thought this was awesome. They used the word entanglement in the in the article, which is amazing. 2020, and if 2020 had to be reduced to one word, I feel like entanglement is in the top 5. It's in the top 5 already. We still got a few months to go, but I like that. And what's wild, I don't know if you caught me on Karen Hunter's show 2 Fridays ago. I had on author Zoe Williams from Zoe What Morning Show and Foxhole and all that, and 5150. And he was saying in his second book, he breaks down what entanglements are. So it's safe to say, and we came to an agreement that Jada had been reading his books because he's a popular author and got the word from him. I was like, oh, you created entanglement. They stole that, John. You got to get the credit. Top 5 word 2020 summed up. All right, let me see. Who spelled it? Somebody just needs to buy a vowel. No, that don't count. You got to type that. No. I don't see it either. Not in the chat. You got to type that. Uncle Alvin, what's up with y'all? All right, so yeah, Jerry Falwell. Messy. Now that's messy. And all these, and now here's why I said this story, because this week I feel like, all right, so let's go back, because I'm definitely being messy, deliberate. And I don't care. The DNC last week, whether you liked it or not, it was for a first try at a virtual convention. I think they did a damn good job of trying to pull that off with all the moving pieces, all the visual elements, all the how do we hold your interest for 2-3 hours a night for 4 nights? How do we get our points across? How do we campaign? Using this platform, because everything's different and weird, right? I think they did a big job. The biggest, I think, success of it was the diversity and inclusion piece. And I hate D&I. I hate the phrase and the terminology, but hey, it's office speak. Diversity and inclusion. I think everybody was represented in some way, shape, or form, of course, of that 4 weeks. So I look at, this is my theory, I look at the RNC happening this week. I don't think they're going to get close to that. It's nothing left. It's pretty much a pep rally. But ain't too much pep they need to rally around left. Ain't too much rallying left as far as pep is concerned. All the diversity, the DNC did it. Now, outside of parading around and trotting out like 2 or 3 blacks of the blacks to be on that stage, I think the RNC is going to be a celebration of whiteness. Goddamn. It's going to be a celebration of whiteness. That's the only thing left that you can do that will hold our attention. And so one of those voices, though, taking a fall this significantly this week, that's a big deal. Because they're so, there's even evangelicals are so hypocritical. And just the amount of judgment that's cast. Even when we see these congressmen, testifying or leading those confirmation hearings and everything. Hey, Jay Watson, I see you spelled it. I didn't know you were checking spelling. Yes, you're correct. Of course, you were ineligible to win. But when you watch those confirmation hearings and all of that, and they like, Mr. So-and-so, do you believe that the American public needs to, be faced with this type of behavior, blah, blah, blah. That's how the evangelical side, that's how they are. And meanwhile, they out here cucking. You know what I'm saying? They out here freaky diggy, treason with the church's money. A whole school, Liberty University, a whole school built by evangelicals. His father built that school. Jerry Falwell. Freaks, all of them. Freaking with the church's money. They going on trips, probably got a private jet. Your tuition is going to this little messy Christian threesome happening on FaceTime. I hate to paint the picture that way. But that's what it is, though. Freakazoids. Liberty University is going to have to change their mascot. We're looking for more resignations coming because he ain't the only one. He ain't the only one. And I hope this opens the door. There's a lot of that foolishness. Not to say that it only, they the only ones that do it. I'm saying, tell it all. So my man was like, I was just trying to get them to buy me out. But they try to embarrass me and distance themselves from me. So, all right, they get what they're going to get. Shep Kelly says about the RNC, they are not looking to display inclusion. That's not their target audience. Right. It's going to be a celebration of whiteness. A celebration. They should just, I'd rather them that. Just embrace it and say, this is what it is. That way we know, draw the line in the sand. We know you're not, I'm surprised. I'm placing a bet that it's going to change. I think Candace Owens is going to be a late minute ad because on Twitter this morning, there was a big deal about her being left off of the speakers list. And I don't know if that was an oversight, if they've used her up enough, if she's done. But I feel like somebody's going to make enough fuss. They got Tim Scott up there. You got Kim Klacik, the young lady from Baltimore that we talked about last week. But I really expected Candace Owens to play some role. They could have used her in some way, as they have been. And the Hodge twins. I'm surprised they didn't get the Hodge twins. Look up the Hodge twins on Instagram. Thank me never. I'm really surprised those types of voices. Terry Crews. Nah. I don't think they can get Terry Crews. Maybe. Can Kanye speak even though he's running against? Interesting. All right, Mr. Clarkson. Hey, let me know if our guest is ready or if you forgot. Let me know. Meanwhile, if you want to jump on the show and talk any of the RNC, DNC, Jerry Falwell, your weekend, starting school with the kids, Skype us. Let's go live. You find Let's Go Live with an exclamation point and my face up there. Or if you got the guts, call in and let's chop it up right quick. Hold on. And put the number. I only got one line, so don't everybody call at once. Just call that number. I'll put you on while I find this other story. This is a live show, by the way. Don't trip. The Lord is my shepherd. He know what he want. That's funny. He know what I want. All right. It was something else I wanted to. Oh, yeah. Tomorrow I will be on. So Humor Mill, we talked about Humor Mill earlier. They carry the show. It's number one online source for comedy and news entertainment. They have some programming outside of ours. So they have 3 shows now. We were the first show on their live TV component. Joe Claire is coming to the network soon, to the channel. It's an actual channel. And then they got a show called Box Seats. I'm going to be a guest on Box Seats tomorrow at 1 o'clock. That's with Talent, Frank. Y'all remember Frank from the first episode, and comedian Fig. So tomorrow at 1 o'clock inside the Humor Mill app. I'll give y'all some more details a little bit later. I'll be joining their show. And also a couple podcasts I want y'all to check out. Dope Dealers podcast. I had him on Karen Hunter's show on Friday, Dope Dealers Podcast, and Bliss is Ignorant. Bliss is Ignorant. Comedian Jay Bliss out of North Carolina. We sat and chopped it up for like 2 hours yesterday, and it was a good deal. Good conversation. Send Kelly the link. I don't have his email. I sent it to you. So forward, check your email and forward it to him. I don't have his email. So let's do it like that. Mr. Clarkson. All right. And while we wait on that, shout out to the Philadelphia 76ers who went home from the bubble. And then today, fired their head coach. Good gracious. What kind of year are you having where you've been in the bubble? I swear they've been there for at least 4 months, right? Maybe 3-4 months. It's been a minute. Held hostage. Your ass held hostage in the bubble. Granted, you down there, it's a good time. You got money. You in Orlando. But you did all this. You went through the test every week just to get ousted from the playoffs, sent home, and then fired. Terrible. Sixers head coach Brett Brown was relieved of his duties today after 7 years as a head coach. His dismissal is expected to be a precursor for more upheaval with the 76ers, whose senior leadership, including general manager Elton Brand. Oh, well, that's why. He's a bum. He was a bum player. He will begin exploring changes in the front office structure. Oh, well. They're so easy not to root for. I don't want to make fun of nobody losing their job, but that sucks. That's ass. That is ass. Shout out to all the Philly fans out there. Yeah. All right, here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, bring this first guest on real quick. This brother is a activist, artist, change agent. He's big on education and youth development. And we ran across each other this weekend. And he was like, man, I just want to come on and just, shoot the gift with you and drop some knowledge on just some things in general, talking about the vote, talking about these students, these kids in the streets, these babies, as he says. Please welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kelly Gilmore. Mr. Gilmore, what's happening?
Good brother. How you doing, man?
Oh, man, I'm good. I can't complain. How you feeling?
All this Zooming,
You
I'm
used
doing
to
about
it.
as good as I can, Been doing it since March, so kind of a vet at it now,
Now, you're in education, so you're out of school. You're in the school system, right?
Yep. I won't say the exact one, but I live in D.C. and I work in Prince George's County.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so did y'all start? Y'all started today?
No, we're good. I've been looking at my DC folks that's been in the class and training. We're still training. So we're still working out our kinks. I heard you going on educators a little earlier. And we're a little bit more hip, though, than people are giving us credit for. We're really planning for the kids.
No, I wasn't going on educators. I was saying how the kids are going to be the wild card. Kids is really, they're going to be the ones that put the monkey wrench in it.
Yeah, and what I was thinking, not really going on the educators, but like everything you were talking about, I was laughing because I did Upward Bound this summer. I did a distance learning counseling program this summer, and we peeped that game at the fourth quarter and in the summer. Kids, hiding their screen. A lot of the tricks we've been talking about it, workshopping it, and then too, I'm a counselor, so we have ways that we engage them because there's a lot of reasons for that. We laugh, some stuff is funny, but some stuff, if my mama works at McDonald's and it's under $30,000 at the house, and I'm sharing a computer with my two sisters, it's an issue. It's a lot of reasons for some of their behaviors, basically.
Yeah. True that.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, we was kind of shooting it around this weekend and talking about voting, and I woke up this morning and I saw Twitter real active, because Ice Cube is at it again in overdrive.
Man, yeah.
Tariq Nasheed was in overdrive this morning, and we woke up to the news of the shootings over the weekend, and so you having that whole no tangibles, no vote. Is getting so much traction, more traction than we will want.
Exactly.
For those of us who disagree, that it's kind of hard to dispute it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's getting harder.
So check this. What I was talking to you and I was talking to some other folks about is the fact that I've been seeing. I got back on social media. I got off of for the specific purpose of engaging in this issue and knowing what we know from the last election, that there's going to be a lot of information wars, a lot of foreign interference, and there's a lot of noise. So I was like, I see in our community we got basically right, center, left, and you can't throw anybody away because one person might be one of your fraternity brothers, one person might be your colleague. These aren't just Yahoo people. These aren't just straight up, some drug addict or some aristocratic. These are your homies. For me, my homies, my people I love. I saw a dude that I know, real cool, used to cut my hair, went to Morgan State. This dude's a Trump supporter, but he's a Morgan State. He's a bona fide black man. This is my bro. Won't say what fraternity he's in. It's not an alpha.
Right.
But we good and we cool. But my conversation with him made me alarmed. And I'm like, we got black people with all of these different opinions. And you mentioned Cube. I grew up in Los Angeles. I grew up really admiring Ice Cube. I listened to what he said. And I get it to a degree. You got to go back and you got to YouTube some Ballad of the Bullet, Malcolm X, some of our super far left brothers and sisters. They're really saying the same argument that Malcolm said back in 1964, which is, he said it, go YouTube it. You're a political chump, he was telling black people. You run, he was talking about the March on Washington, which I will be at the commemoration this Saturday. But he was like, Malcolm was telling our people, you're not doing anything but walking between Lincoln and Washington. They had you walking. They fooled you. Malcolm said that. And of course, he was assassinated about a year after that. So you can't discount that. Then you got us in the center. And my whole thing, again, from a counseling perspective and conflict resolution, I'm seeing very educated brothers with graduate degrees and PhDs. We going back to the elementary school. We going back to junior high school. We going back to bunk you. Well, what's up, homie? Well, what? Catch a fade. Like, we back on some real ignorant. And so what I've been putting out to folks is like, all of us that got some hood experience, you got some hood experience. And those of us that come from the middle class, there's divides in our community. There's divisions. I grew up in a middle class community with mad division. There's Bloods and Crips, but then there's, six-figure homes right there in Los Angeles. South Central is really crazy. No different than DC or Baltimore. It's all there. So, and I had a conversation with one of my frat brothers today, completely like F y'all that are voting. And I'm like, bro, I love you. I know you. I don't agree with what you're saying. So what I'm asking people to do is what I'm doing. If you see somebody saying something sideways, that's your people, forget all of this keyboard warrior, pick the phone up, call your people.
Yeah.
And the first told him, I said, hey, homie, off top, I love you. You my bro. I don't agree with nothing that you said. And from there, we had friendly fire. We locked horns and he let it out. And he's just like, and I didn't disagree with him. He's like, yo, man, I'm focused on building my economics, building my family, because whoever's up in there is going to continue. And I'm like, yeah, but number 45 is something different.
Yeah,
this dude attacked, it's different.
And so that argument, and I'm glad you said that, like, we could have argued that 4 years ago. And then 4 years before that. And then 4 years before that. Right now, it's different. There's a different energy coming out from that seat, and the people that work with him and the people that follow him and the loyalists. It's a whole different energy. We can't take that whole approach that we had 4 years ago. Well, the Democratic Party is taking advantage of us. Republicans, they the ones that freed the slave. Don't give them your vote. Don't let them take you for granted. That's easy. You could have did that 4 years ago. You could have did that last year. You could have did that midterms. Take that stance. Do whatever you need to do to register people to vote. Get them to switch party. Whatever you wanted to do, your level of activism, you could have did that. Right now, it's a little different.
Right.
It's not the same. He is emboldening a class of people that are literally on your head.
Exactly.
That's trying to turn you into trophies. Literally in the middle of the street.
That's to that point. That's what I brought up. I said, bruh, This is different. He brought up a very valid point because I was a child in the 80s, so I wasn't as, I had to go back and study the 80s.
Right,
but he reminded me, and I've written about it, rapped about it, presented about it. Reagan and Bush are responsible for cocaine in our communities. It was a high level of that period of a lot of misinformation. Again, fast forward, there's nothing in comparison to what 45 has done from the time he's been inaugurated up to now, But again, when I say front, center, right, I don't want to, let me just pull up the right since we're talking about them. Mm-hmm. We have bona fide black people, bona fide, meaning they're from the community, that are, what's the young lady's name from Baltimore?
M. Klasick.
Right, M. Klasick. And I'm looking at her. We don't have enough time to talk about that whole class of folks and how that emerges, but they're there. But they have their own motivations for whatever their personal political plans are. But my thing for the community, those of us that are down to have conversations, whether you leaning left or leaning center, and even those, let's talk a little bit about the right too in terms of old school black community, removing the Republican from it. Conservative, not conservative as in politics. Conservative behavior is in any black grandmama's home you go to right now.
Exactly.
I haven't been to church in a long time, but I will respect your grandmama and certain things I don't do around people's grandmamas because I was raised like that. We have
mindset. Yeah.
Man, like we still laugh about when the sister on the DNC, I forgot her name, the older black woman, the older mom, I forgot her name. You guys know what I'm talking about. I have to come back. But she gave the delegates away, and there was an explosion on Facebook of people saying she reminded her of their auntie and grandma. Mm-hmm. And I made a little joke and was like, I bet you still can't sit on her living room couch with the plastic on it.
Right.
Because that's how she felt. You know what I'm saying? So we got that conservative. And I saw in Baltimore how she walked down the street and she's really mixing. If you haven't studied sociology, psychology, it looks good. You can take the okie doke. But if you're behind the surface, it's like she interviewed one brother who said 3 of his sons was killed. Yes, he wants police out there. There's a bunch of black people that want police out there. Yeah. I'm not one of them, but there's a bunch of them. You know what I'm saying? And no, a lot of black folks aren't saying just completely remove them off the street. Some people are. Right. But again, we have to leave room. I pull from conflict resolution. Separate the person from the problem. That's what I put on my little poster that says separate the person from the problem. Then we can attack the problem. But if the person is the problem, let's talk about colorism in the community. You're a comedian, so I just use I'm brown skinned and you're light skinned. I love to mess with my light skinned brothers and sisters within love, within love. But we have a part in the community that takes those divisions and we really go and we really take that dozens game in the community and it goes completely left to where we're character assassins. That's where we're at in the community. I'll use a gang analogy. Anybody grew up in any inner city community and saw gangs fight? Hate to use that example, but if this is a gang fight with the Republican side and the Democrat side, I feel like we just stepped up and we about to scrap, and now we got people saying, "Oh man, you took my shirt." Nah, man, ain't the time to argue right now.
Yeah, right.
We argue, we gonna get killed right now.
Yeah.
We need to continue that nuanced argument. At the same time, you just can't tell people STFU.
And see, that's what my issue with like T.I. and T.I. kind of fell back from a couple weeks ago. But my issue with Cube and Cube, you can do what you want. But I'm watching the video. I'm like, and he high, and the nigga smoked out. I'm like, come on, man. It's a certain level of recklessness, and it needs more consideration. You 50 days out. And you trying to drop this master plan because you want attention. You really could have did that a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago at the local level.
Remember his net worth 150 mil. So I'm like, how affected are you? You're not impacted like I'm impacted. You got 150 mil. I don't want to hate on you for having all that money in the bank.
Right.
But your level of urgency is not my level of urgency.
And that's a hard thing to take off the table because when I'm scrutinizing, I'm not even talking about you're a rich guy, you're unaffected, because I don't even subscribe to that. You're black and you'll be affected at some point.
No
So
doubt.
I'm taking the money off the table.
Mm.
I'm saying you're making this case 50 days out. So,
Right.
and you're too influential. You're too influential. I want you to use your influence. Never say not. But now you're giving talking points where the average person is not going to take the time to research.
Right.
And they sound good, and I mess with you, so I believe you. But you're right. None of these parties care about me. Okay, that may be true.
Right.
But 50 days out with the terrorist that we have in the office, he's a dictator in training. He is a terrorist by definition.
Right.
He's tyrannical. His administration is tyrannical. His policy is tyrannical. Out of all of the things that we can't fix or haven't been able to fix, we're not going to do it in 50 days.
Right.
And it's
people need to.
If you don't show up, it's only going to get worse.
Exactly. Also, people need to understand this is, let me go ahead and ask people to look up Black August, because it's really popular in California because it started because George Jackson, a Black Panther, was killed in San Quentin State Prison, part of a resistance movement. And I'm messing up a lot of the nuances. People can look it up themselves. But basically what I remember was a lot of people of various religious backgrounds, political backgrounds doing August in commemoration of Black revolutions in August. There's a 30-day just discipline and dedication towards studying a couple of things in August. Haitian Revolution was I believe 1791. That was August. Nat Turner's Rebellion, that happened in August of I believe 1831. March on Washington, 1963. The Honorable Marcus Garvey was born in August. There's a lot of Blackness that has been going down through the years in August. Right. August is a Black August Resistance Month. It's a time to remember, why did Toussaint Louverture do what he did? Why did Nat Turner do what he did? And remember, before Nat Turner did what he did, people need to look up David Walker. When a teacher told me that was Malcolm X, I was like, what? This black man born free, in slavery, educated, with command of history and religion. You read David Walker's Appeal, the brother was so bad, he wrote the book to mimic the way that the Constitution was written, okay? And David Walker in there is saying, I put a quote and I erased it because it was too long for people to read. And people need sound bites and stuff.
Yeah.
So he has this whole part. It's just a couple of paragraphs where he's like, there's nowhere in history where people were treated worse than Black people in America. David Walker's Appeal, 1829, it said that David Walker's Appeal was being read in slave quarters and was part of the motivation for Nat Turner's Rebellion. And if you read David Walker's Appeal, the sad reality is that it still applies. Yeah. Just like Malcolm X's Ballad of the Bullet, it still applies. Ain't nothing changed but daytime and weather when we got cells.
But even to that point, man, a lot of people, we look at words, we can see. You could even call it reading, but a lot of us aren't reading between the lines.
Right.
And Ballad of the Bullet is like you have two choices, one or the other. And if you're not ready to do one, you're gonna have to do the other. You know what I mean? And so when I hear people, and even my interpretation could be off, but when I hear people rapping that now, and I'm like, yeah, but again, 50 days out, you have not mobilized any effort of training. You have, Killer Mike talks about it all the time. You have not done any training. You don't know how to garden. You ain't picked up a firearm. You ain't registered to carry. You haven't put in place your own schooling to teach your own. You haven't no breakfast program. Like all of these community things that would have to need to happen for you to be like, nah, man, F the vote. We not voting.
Right.
You can't do it. You're not in a position to. It's not begging. It's not begging for them, and it's not picking the lesser of two evils. You're not prepared to do anything else.
Right.
So, in my opinion, when you have that big of a platform and you no vote and no tangibles and FBA, and I get all of that. But if you have not put nothing in place so that on November 4th, you can be like, hell yeah, nah, we ain't
Right.
none of y'all suckers, and here's why.
Right.
If you don't have a here's why, you have to STFU.
So I'm a drop this one little because I know you short on time. So I'm gonna drop this one little.
And we gotta make room for Roland Martin. So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
We come from a long African history, ancient Egypt, ancient Kemet. The history is over 3,000 years old. It's over 10,000 years old. You know, you get the Ghana song. We come from ancient civilizations. America, I'm 44. I was born on the bicentennial, so America is 244 years old. My age plus 200. So America is a baby nation. I can get my book and put America's age inside of one dynasty of ancient Egypt, ancient Kemet. Black folk need to reclaim our history, and we need to think in 2120, Black people shouldn't be living in oppression. We got to think 100 years ahead. What this shouldn't be happening from 1863 to 1963 to 2020. I love our people, but somebody didn't plan, man. Somebody didn't plan.
Right.
So we know this now. We got too many degrees. We got too many Divine Nine. We got too much education in the Black community to not start to mobilize. Our biggest problem, it has been said that our unity alone would destroy white supremacy without the firing of one shot. Our unity alone, if we get past ignorance, you know, and a deep one. Osiris, you know, that Washington Monument is a is a symbol of Osiris, a Black god, ancient Egypt, ancient Kemet. The old story was he got dismembered and remembered. And I had a professor that said, just like Osiris, we must remember ourselves like Osiris.
I appreciate it. Brother Kemet, ladies and gentlemen, dropping the science. Gotta have you back soon, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Sir. Appreciate you, brother.
Thanks for your time.
Yes, sir.
My guy right there. Yeah, man. So that's, you know, that's I was looking at it today. I woke up to that. Q was heavy. Tariq Nasheed was heavy. It was a lot of people going back. No vote, no tangibles. Tangibles 2020. Check the hashtag. And I get it. Master plan for a Black agenda. I get all of that. But influencing others and discounting the power of the vote, you have to be realistic, right? So I don't know. I don't care about what math you think you're doing. A no vote is a vote for 45. Point blank in the system. You think the system is wicked. You think it's rigged. You think it's corrupt. Okay. Well, in that rigged system, they already fucking off at the post office. In that system, a no vote is a vote for that. So if you're fine with that, then that's what's going to happen. But all this other, we really need to see who take. They have always taken for granted. They have already switched sides. Like Brother Kim has said, you know, we come from a conservative mindset as a people. Don't get hung up on labels, because Republicans weren't always conservative, Democrats weren't always liberal. That's reading and research. That's you doing your Googles. But right now, 50 days out, we ain't got time to play. All right. We're approaching the end of the show, man. And at this time, it's been good conversation, man. Good rap. I thank y'all for tuning in. We always like to leave on a lesson with a word from an elder in a segment we like to call Hi Dad.
Happy every day, brothers and sisters. This is Alpha Papa with today's reflection. Important date. Yesterday marked an important date in my life. 53 years ago, I was released from the U.S. Air Force in Seattle, Washington. I flew down to Los Angeles to visit my two brothers. The youngest was stationed at Long Beach Naval Station, while the oldest lived in L.A. I stayed a few days, then came home to the East Coast to my parents' home in Maryland. The day after Labor Day, I was enrolled in Bowie State College, where the next phase of my journey began. Going to college was what I needed at the time in my life. I received a very good education. met a lot of people, and maintained friendships that still exist today. The most important result of my attending Bowie State College was that I met my wife of 49 years and counting. Yes, we have our ups and downs, disagreements. However, we are able to communicate with each other and to come to an agreeable solution to any problem. Our time together this quarantine it's gone along pretty well as far as avoiding stir crazy. My wife has taken on the challenge of learning different phases of real estate while I am doing more writing. How we met on campus is another story, perhaps in my book. Laugh out loud. Our children know various versions of our hookup. Peace and blessings to all. Alpha Papa.
All right, there it is. We left on the lesson. Hi, Dad. Hey, man, word from an elder. You never know what's going to come out of his mouth. You just never know. All right, I appreciate y'all for tuning in, man, Monday through Friday. If you see something, share something. Make sure you tell people about the show. Again, trending topics, hilarious commentary, celebrity interviews, and interesting people. That's what the show is in a nutshell. Yes, it's a podcast. Yes, it's a live show. It's everything you want it to be and anything you can afford. Speaking of, if viewer support, Lamont King 06, Cash App. That's the easy way. You go to Patreon. You get full episodes of previous shows and bonus clips, interviews, and all that. That's in the Patreon, and we appreciate y'all. And shout out to Mr. Clarkson for executive producing and handling all the handles and doing the Googles, and Brother Kemet for coming on. And we are out of time, man. They're about to cut us. Sorry, Roland Martin. We're going to have to get you another time. I appreciate you for being patient, but everybody else, y'all be safe, be easy. See you tomorrow, Lord willing.
Man, I'm just working, man.
I know what my audience like. I did some independent films with Master P. A lot of those movies did really well.
I'm ambitious, I'm a hustler. I have my own lane.
That's the thing about comedy. You wake up every day, you don't know if you're funny that day.